Aaron Rodgers a championship.
They owe him a championship?
Yes.
They owe him? And he's a quarterback?
Absolutely.
I'm listening.
Here is why.
Tell me.
Aaron Rodgers is looking at this generation of quarterbacks, and he is saying, this generation of quarterbacks that are as talented as me, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, if you dare want to put Russell Wilson in that conversation, they have all had the opportunity at 2 championships. Russell Wilson is second and third year in the league.
Great point.
Peyton Manning had the opportunity at 4 championships, but even his last 4 years in Denver, his only 4 years in Denver, had the opportunity at 2 championships. Tom Brady, we know he's had the opportunity at several championships. Even Patrick Mahomes, in his short 4-year career, has had the opportunity at 2 championships. Aaron Rodgers has only had the opportunity at 1 championship. If you ask me what do the Packers owe Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to get into the minutia. I'm not going to talk about owing him a first-round pick. Haven't drafted a first-round pick wide receiver, that is, since Aaron Rodgers became the starter. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about owing him a defense. In their championship games, the defense gives up 35 points a game, more than 35 points a game on average. League last year, 24 points a game is what was scored during the regular season. I'm not going to talk about the minutia. I'm going to talk big picture. The Green Bay Packers owe Aaron Rodgers a championship because all the quarterbacks that fall into the category of Aaron Rodgers' individual talent in this generation, Drew Brees is not as talented as Aaron Rodgers. All the quarterbacks that fall into the individual talent of Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Bradys, the Peyton Mannings, the Patrick Mahomes, and I will even usher in Russell Wilson based on individual ability, they all had the opportunity at 2 championships. Packers, y'all owe Aaron Rodgers one thing and one thing very, very simply, a championship. Get there however you can.
Man, great take. Like, give me what I need to go get what I want. I give you that. There's a little pushback, though, if I'm the Green Bay Packers, because I only owe you what you've earned. And then if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'll push back even harder. I've earned an opportunity for those championships. Look, Green Bay Packers, the organization is at fault right here. They are guilty of not properly supplying a great what he needs around him, which is total greatness. And we're not just talking about he has a top 5 receiver, top 5 running back. I'm talking about total greatness, what's necessary to get to that championship once again. They need to give him more than they've shown so far. They need to pull in the same direction, and they need to do more and say less. How about all of those things, all those corny things? Now, I learned in life to have goals is kind of, I hate to say meaningless, but it's not as meaningful as having micro goals. My dad told me one day I was sitting there daunted by some experience. I can't even remember what I was sitting there flustered about. My dad was like, sit down. How long is a marathon? You know me, my old running butt. 26.2 miles, sir. He was like, yeah, take 1 step. Now how long is the marathon? I was like, 26.1. That's my point. Like, soon as you take the next step in the right direction, that marathon just got a little shorter, just got a little easier. Green Bay Packers, take the steps in the right direction. It's sad to see this is an organization that has gone so long without properly supplying Aaron Rodgers with what he needs. There should never be a narrative out there. There should never be a story out there that actually has legs that says Aaron Rodgers is not properly supplied with the right resources. But we all know that's a reality. It's almost an organization that is treating Aaron Rodgers like they did Brett Favre. But they're only treating Aaron Rodgers this way because they're PTSD. Like they're post-traumatic stress over what Brett Favre took them through. And they say, you know what? We're not going to give you what you want, Aaron, because what we went through with Brett Favre. Self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. Like, here's a Wileyism for you that I come across that makes sense of this. Of all the liars in this world, the worst are our own fears. Of all the liars in this world, the worst are our own fears. They're almost scared to, like, do the right thing. I swear, because Aaron Rodgers is sitting there like, dog, just draft a wide receiver. First round. You know that they've only picked 1 first-round skill player since 2005? And that was Jordan Love, his bench warming backup. Come on, man. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm sitting there just like you said in the beginning. Just give me what I need. I'll get you what you want. Got to bring in former Packer, Super Bowl champion, Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. So, Greg, what do the Packers owe Aaron Rodgers?
Well, the Green Bay Packers, from a business perspective, owes Aaron Rodgers only what he's contractually bound to.
Oh.
And we all know that as players. However, the awareness of Aaron Rodgers is what the problem brings to the Packers. And his ability to understand that, yes, they only really are bound to what this contract says. So what I'm going to do is use who I am, my abilities, and what I afford them as a commodity to my advantage. And his ability to be aware of that is what's going to get him and render him what he solely desires, which is that contract being solidified in his favor. That's it. It's an ear. That's what they owe him, an ear. Listen to what your quarterback is just offering you, because you have arguably one of the best to ever do it. And for them to not listen to him, and you said something, Marcellus, that struck a chord for me. They do have PTSD, because they are looking at what Brett Favre did. From the day Mike McCarthy took over, it was put Aaron Rodgers on the leash. We can't let him get out of control. We can't let him run the show. We can't let him get the big head. We can't let it be Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Well, when you play for a storied franchise like that, and you have the ability and you have the skill set that Aaron Rodgers possesses, it's just going to naturally evolve itself that way and come to a surface. So that was Aaron Rodgers. He earned all of that. Now he's at the position where you have to give him a listening ear. And all of those things that both of you guys have mentioned are fact. But the reality is, will you listen to me? You owe it enough. You owe me just simply that. Listen to me. Listen to what it is that I'm asking for, because what I'm asking for does not just benefit myself. It benefits everyone involved. Devontae Adams, the O-line, everyone. He has masked even the worst of defenses that they have put on display. So at the very least, the Green Bay Packers owe him a listening ear to see what it is he truly desires.
I'll give you that, G, because you hit the nail on the head where you say at the very least. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I don't even care if you listen to me as long as you show up with what I want. When it's my birthday, G, I'm sure when it's your birthday. Sal, I'm sure when it's your birthday. It really don't matter if you listen to me tell you subliminally what I wanted. Hey, a new car would be nice. A new tie, a new belt, a new watch would be nice. As long as when you open up the gift, you see what you want. I don't need the Packers to listen to Aaron Rodgers. It would help, to Greg Jennings' point, if they did. But as long as they show up with what he wants, they don't necessarily need to listen. But yes, again, it would help. But what does Aaron Rodgers want? What he wants is at least the opportunity at a chip. Since 2000, mind you, the quarterbacks the Packers have had since 2000, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Think about the NFC teams that have gone to multiple championships with lesser quarterbacks. Whether it's the Buccaneers, Brad Johnson, G, Eagles, you got Donovan McNabb and that combination of Nick Foles, Carson Wentz. Y'all can look at the list, Jake Delhomme, Cam Newton, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those quarterback combinations are far lesser talented than the combination of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, or just solely looking at Aaron Rodgers in his 13 years as a starter. So it's not just listening to me, but Aaron Rodgers is owed an opportunity at a chip, because to Marcellus's point and my last point, Aaron Rodgers looking at the Packers like, I don't know y'all nothing. I've outperformed my contract, because last year I was not only the best quarterback in the league, I was the best player in the league. And if I'm the best player in the league, then technically my contract should match up with the highest paid player in the league. So statistically, Aaron Rodgers has outperformed his contract. So he don't owe the Packers anything. Now he's just looking at the Packers like, hey, y'all run me what y'all owe me.
Crazy, man. Oh, this is so sad, because I hate when I see situations like this. And I actually lived through an experience like this. Y'all might put this together, but there are circumstances, there are entities that are scared to empower someone's greatness because they're scared that they'll be bigger than the brand. I've seen it firsthand. And it almost seems like that's what's happening out there in Green Bay. Why do I say that? And why did Greg even pick up on that? And that struck a chord with him in terms of the PTSD of the Green Bay Packers. Because there's no way you could have these statistics go together. Packers have had a top 10 scoring defense just once in the last 10 years. In a league where the last 8 Super Bowl winners had a top 10 scoring defense. That's crazy. I know Slick Rick brought that up last week. And the point of this is, if you talk about all these things in totality, Aaron Rodgers is like, you're not giving me the skilled players I need, and then you're not even properly addressing the defense as you continue to draft and try to redress. So where's it all going? You shouldn't have a hint of anyone out there saying that the Packers and their best player they're not pulling in the same direction. There should never be a storyline that actually puts that together. But there's just evidence on top of evidence that shows that all this is the reality. So, Greg, you lived through the experience greater than both of us, but make it make sense, especially if you're Aaron Rodgers. You're that close, but it seems like you're that far as well.
Yeah, and so I'll add to it. It's not just the championship. Like, yes, he wants that. He desires another opportunity to compete for a Lombardi trophy. That means being in the Super Bowl, and then I truly believe he's like, it's on me at this point, regardless.